Welcome to Mamamia Out Loud, what women are actually talking about on Friday, the 12th of September. I'm not Holly Wainwright. She is here, but I'm trying to save her voice. Holly, go on.
I'm sorry. I sound a bit bad today, Outlouders. I feel fine, but you're going to put up with this for a little bit. It gets better. I'm sure it'll get better.
And I'm Jessie Stevens.
And I'm Amelia Lester. And just before we get started, I wanted to let you know that Holly has taken over the Mamamia Out Loud Substack. And I know there's a lot of Substacks demanding your attention these days, but Holly's is so good.
Oh, it is, and it's free.
It's free, which is great. I do have to say that she wrote this one a couple of weeks ago. And you can tell she's a writer because I know she really thinks through what she's going to write and what she's going to say. And it was really memorable. It was about this one time that she wanted to kill Jessie. And what it actually got into was some really juicy, complicated thinking around jealousy and around professional jealousy and friendship jealousy. And I just can't stop thinking about it and how lovely to get that in my inbox.
Oh,
so we'll pop a link in the show notes.
On our agenda for today, if you hear the words love and sex addict, what pops into your head? I think for me, it's like a famous man who
David Duchovny.
Yeah, always cheating on his wife, right? And it's a bit of an excuse. Or it used to be what popped up before I interviewed Liz Gilbert recently, because maybe a love and sex addict looks like a world famous female author whose love stories have inspired many.
Plus, I somehow convinced both of you to let us do an entire segment with a tarot card reader who I saw privately a few weeks ago, and I made her sit down with us and she predicted things that there's no way she could have known.
And we've got some recommendations for your weekend. One is so tense that you'll be biting your nails, and another is very sexy. You might be reaching for the smelling salts.
When you're needing a holiday that's actually relaxing, the Sundays is the place to go. A boutique hotel set on Hamilton Island, just a short flight from Sydney, Melbourne and Brisbane. Panoramic views of Cat's Eye Bay? Check. Sunrise yoga on the deck? Hold my coffee. Plus, a water's edge dining experience with Josh and Julie Nyland's seafood masterpiece. Swap Mondays for endless Sundays and make your holiday your own. Book your escape today. But first,
in case you missed it, grown women and toddlers are converging on one thing, and that thing is the importance of baths.
Bath time.
Bath time. Thank you. Forget catching up over spicy margaritas. The new way that women are talking to each other and spending time together is to soak in a sauna. The New York Times this week reported on what it called the smoking hot return of bathing culture. Now, I love going for a sauna. There's a place here in Sydney that every month I go with a friend of mine and we do a sauna and we just feel so wonderful afterwards and our skin glows. And then we do go and get a spicy margarita. But the important thing is that we first did the healthy thing.
Yeah.
Going for a sauna is to enter a healthy third space, one of the women says to the Times. It's cheap, it's good for you, it doesn't involve drinking. It's not your home, it's not a bar, it's a third space. And there's more of a focus these days on preventative health. I think post-pandemic, everyone's looking for ways to feel better, to feel well. And you are doing your body a favor when you go to the sauna.
I have questions.
Go.
Do you have to get naked in front of each other?
No. The way that most saunas work, or in fact, every sauna I can think of going to, you wear a bathing suit or a swimsuit.
Single sex, mixed sex?
Mixed sex.
Okay.
The sauna that I go to has very bright lighting, which is good because then you know that it's clean. I actually get a little nervous when you go to one that's trying to be very erotic and dark because you don't want to do that with strangers, and also you don't want to see like little bits of hair.
Bathhouses are popping up all over Sydney. Are you into it, Jessie?
I am. I went recently with my mum and Claire, and it was the same because I think that when you hang out with people, I found this recently where you go, I don't want to go out for a really expensive dinner or a cocktail. Like, things are just so expensive. And you can go to a bathhouse. There's been a bunch pop up sort of all around the city. And the point of the bathhouse is the idleness. Like, they're sitting there for a long period of time. And I was reading this.
How long do you go for?
I reckon we were there for 2 hours and just laid around. There's kind of a really hot bath, and then there's one that's a little bit cooler, and then they even had the cold plunges, which I was like, absolutely no interest. But I was reading this Substack all about the rise in bathing, because what happened was they were massive in ancient Rome, and like I've been to one in Turkey and all over the world. And due to a number of factors, including, interestingly, the AIDS epidemic, bathhouses were closed across like the US and Europe. And in a lot of places, they just kind of disappeared. And also because we all got our own plumbing. So we had a bath at home. So who needs these kind of public ones? But there's been this rise, especially post-COVID, for this preventative health, wellness, idleness thing that we're all kind of interested in. And I found that funny because it's also turned into, in this Substack, it said it's turned into this hydrotherapy meets circuit training. You see some people go and they've got to do cold plunge, hot plunge, da-da-da, and it was saying, no, the point of the bathhouse is that you sit, no phone,
You literally
no
can't
headphones.
take your phone in.
Exactly. You have to just
Oh.
be, and it's about boredom and letting your mind rest. And even the ancient Romans would talk about how they got ideas and stuff in their baths.
We don't have any of these down my way. I'm going to come to Sydney just for a bath day. This sounds great.
you
I
must.
did just go to one in Brisbane because I went to Brisbane on a quick trip and the first thing I looked up was whether or not there was a bathhouse. There was a spectacular one.
Because you used to live in Japan, didn't you?
Thank you. Thanks for bringing that up. I'm
'Cause
so
they
glad
have
you
famous
mentioned
baths.
it.
Did you go
They
to one?
do. Yeah, all the time. In fact, that's where I got into it. Typically there, it's very common once a week, say, to go with your family to the bathhouse.
As a family, so it's not single
As
sex
a family,
either. Okay.
it is divided into sexes there. A fun fact is that in Japan, they did bathe nude co-ed until the Americans came in the late 19th century and made it weird. And we're like, oh, we should put clothes on. They made it weird. But it's a very family activity.
I did one in Turkey years ago, I've never forgotten about, where they wash your hair
Yeah.
and they exfoliate. I remember watching things come off my skin. I was like, this is
The
amazing. And
Koreans are also great at that too.
I was silk. I came out just like sliding all over the place. I would love one
I
like
don't
that.
think Western cultures know how to exfoliate.
No.
So I interviewed Elizabeth Gilbert a couple of weeks ago.
You haven't stopped talking about it.
I know. I was a little bit obsessed. I did it for a special episode of No Filter. I don't know that there would be many Outlouders who've never heard of Liz Gilbert, but if you haven't, she wrote Eat, Pray, Love, right? So almost 20 years ago now, and that's one of those rare books that just exploded into a cultural thing, right? Millions and millions of copies, women, Western women all over the place going, I need to go and find myself somewhere.
She really contributed to the over-tourism of Bali.
She did. Julia Roberts played her in a movie. Anyway, we didn't talk about any of that, right? She's become obviously a very big sort of cultural figure in a certain kind of, I hate to say self-helpy world, but probably in that self-helpy universe, right? And not very many of us have much in common with Liz Gilbert, I wouldn't say. She's exceptionally rich these days. She's had a life of many extremes that are documented in her books. But I reckon that quite a lot of women would have a little bell ringing in their head when she talks about what her new book is about, which is about being a sex and love addict, right? So at the front of this book, her book is a memoir about the last decade or so of her life, including her relationship with Rhea Elias, who if you followed her on social, you would know all these things. But if you didn't, she famously left her second husband for Rhea. Rhea was her best friend of many years. But when she was diagnosed with cancer, Liz realized that actually she was in love with Rhea, and this was a romantic relationship, and they got together, and Liz was with her until she died, and a whole lot of shit went down, and that's what the book's about. But also, it's about sex and love addiction, which I reckon lots of women will be like, At the front of this book, she says, I am a sex and love addict. I have caused tremendous harm to myself and others through my decades of sex and love addiction. I have inserted myself into other people's relationships and I have broken up families. I have lied to myself and others. I have hurt people who I promised to cherish. I have crossed boundaries with friends. I have run away from people who cared about me and towards people who didn't. I've cheated on people and allowed myself to be cheated on. I've tried to buy love with money. She goes on, I've committed and accepted shameful objectification. I've used people's bodies as drugs, both sedatives and stimulants. I've treated my own body with terrible disrespect, and I have never been able to stop. Now, what do you think when you hear that?
There were elements of what she said there and also in interviews I've been reading over the last few weeks where I thought, I find that deeply relatable. Like she said that she has felt lost in the endless search for connection. And I thought, yeah, I think that's a deeply human experience. But when I hear something like that and she gets into the details of how she behaved, I stopped relating with a lot of what she was talking about and thought, oh, I actually think I've been in relationships with people who have had sex and love addictions.
Or you know people who
Or
have.
I know people. And I think that for me, the biggest red flag has been infidelity and a really fast on intense relationship that when the whether it's dopamine or the kind of that adrenaline that kicks off a relationship, once that begins to settle, the person seems to lose interest and go and find it somewhere else, which I suppose is very much like an addiction, like they're looking for another hit, like a hit for someone to validate them in a new way that one partner can't consistently do.
The parallels that she paints a lot in this book, because Rhea was a drug addict, right, who'd been in recovery for a lot of years but lapsed in the last months of her life, really. She says addicts of all kinds use substances and things to take their pain away, to make them feel better. And love and sex addicts do that with relationships. But one of the problems with it is we all idolize this level of romantic love. So just a couple of things she says are quite typical of the love and sex addict that might ring bells, right? Overlapping relationships, so often not ending one till you've got another one to go to, throwing yourself into them completely, pouring all your time and resources into them. And she says women in particular, we're programmed to give. So it's something that women are more likely to do often. This idea that this relationship will make everything great. Like,
it will heal me.
This will heal me. My life will be fabulous because now I am loved. This person will fix everything. But then, as you've sort of said, Jessie, as the haze clears, and as she points out, someone has to get up and go to work or do other things for their family or just basically go back to life. The enragement of abandonment, where you're kind of like, after all I did for you and now you haven't fixed me, and you're furious and you move on to the next partner. I think I was a bit like that in my youth, so I probably wasn't an addict, but I know people like that.
Okay, but aren't we just pathologizing bad decisions here? Like, the thing that I can't get on board with is in using the language of addiction, it's almost like grafting her bad decisions onto what is more of a medical issue. Another person who's called themselves a sex addict is Harvey Weinstein. That was his big excuse. When he was found out, he said, I'm a sex addict, I'm going to rehab. Now then he was thrown in prison, and obviously Liz Gilbert hasn't done anything wrong in a criminal way. But he used it sort of like an excuse, sort of like to say, I couldn't help myself. And what I find difficult about that is we all have these neurotransmitters in our brain that are triggered when we fall in love or when we're attracted to someone. We've all got to deal with that flood of dopamine, and we all want more of it. It feels really good to fall in love. I think we can all agree on that. But the Liz Gilberts and Harvey Weinsteins of the world are saying, but I wanted more of it because it felt really good.
Can both be true though? Because it's like I enjoy a glass of wine, right? But I don't enjoy a glass of wine as much as someone who has a real dependence on alcohol. And that doesn't absolve that person from getting behind the wheel. It doesn't absolve that person from acting violently if they've had too much to drink. But there are clearly people who are more predisposed to addiction and to chasing those highs. And
also it's the glass of wine analogy. You can have a glass of wine or two glasses of wine, but not, have to keep going. And I guess her point is that we might have all experienced the highs of the dopamine highs of love and lust, let's hope we have at some point in our lives, and wanted to chase it again. But some people are just can't not. And I get your Weinstein example, and I think that just like lots of addictions and mental health conditions, it can be used as an excuse, but that doesn't mean it doesn't exist.
No, that's a good point. You know the DSM, it's this book that has all the psychological conditions in it, and that's sort of what is recognised by health insurance companies and governments in order to assess psychological conditions. They looked into whether or not to include love and sex addiction in the DSM. It is not in the DSM. And the reason is because there are no physical symptoms of withdrawal. So there is a big difference
Interesting.
between an alcohol addiction and a love and sex addiction.
Because I find that interesting too, because there's an I think it was in an interview I was reading with Liz Gilbert where she was saying it's not an exaggeration. The closest I've ever come to both suicide and murder was because of my addiction to another person. And she says people kill themselves and each other every day because of relationship fixation and obsession. People routinely lose everything, their health, serenity, jobs, money, families, because of romantic devastation and dysfunction, and still they have trouble walking away. And I got to the end of that sentence and I went, I am uncomfortable with a narrative that says that domestic violence is the first thing my mind goes to there. People who physically hurt or endanger people they purport to love, I feel very uncomfortable putting a love and sex addiction label on that.
I don't think you have to. Like, I think it's interesting, your point, Amelia, like, of course, you could say there's no physical withdrawal, so therefore it can't be a real addiction. But we all know there's a whole lot of grey area problem, red flag drinking and all kinds of substance abuse that wouldn't necessarily fit that definition, right? And I think it really rang bells for me because it's the chasing of the high that I really understand, right? And like from people around me and the obsession. It's like the way I feel every time I see people who are always on Instagram going, I am more in love than I have ever been. This is unbelievable. This is going to last. Fast on, fast off, obsession, limerence. Like, we all get it.
And
right?
why we're all so skeptical when we see it too, because it feels dangerous.
And what Liz Gilbert was saying is that for her, after Raya's death, what she realised was this big, glorious love story narrative that she'd told herself and the world was true. They were deeply in love and they had this amazing relationship. But the codependent, because she says that women are generally more comfortable with the word codependent, but it's the same thing, really. She says she knows lots of women are uncomfortable saying sex addiction, but she says I learned early, and lots of women do, that you can use sex to control people and get people to do what you want. And so, she thinks it's absolutely valid to be in there. She's like, I realized that was a big love story, but we're just so comfortable with that narrative. We overlook all the messes and the toxicity and the codependence, and I get that. Anyway, when I interviewed her, I said, now you are aware of this and living a sober life, as she calls it, from sex and love. I said, does that mean you have to stay single forever? And she said, no, but if I was going to date again, because she's been on her own now, after Raya died, she went on what she calls a binge. And some people who are deep in this story would remember her posting a picture of being with a guy not long after Raya died and being like, I found love again, da, 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 da. She now says that was very much a binge. Anyway, when I said to her, do you have to stay sober and single and alone? This is what she said.
I'm not sure that anyone would recommend partnering up with me. You know what I mean? Like if does anyone really want to be my fourth spouse? Like, does anybody really want to tackle this? Like, I think it's a public service for me, honestly, to love people in a different way and to love people in a way where I can show up in truly generous love, which I'm great at as a friend, and I'm great at as a family member, and I'm great at as a community member. But if that should change, then I've got this sober dating plan that includes items like no 2-week-long first dates. Like, you're not going to go on a date with somebody and 2 weeks later they're living with you. Like, we're not doing that, like no opening bank accounts for people, like no lavish gifts to try to seduce, no going on big glamorous romantic trips with someone who I've only known for a month, because I've got to stay in reality and make sure that, like, anyone can fall in love with someone on a tropical island. We have to see whether this actually works in the real world, and no constant texting between dates, because I can get sucked into that and lost in that. And I have to go, like, if I'm going to go on a date, I have to come home afterwards and I won't see you again for a week, because I need to remember that I love my life. I need to remember that I have friends, that I have a dog, that I have a career, all these things that I throw away when I fall into desperate obsession and fixation on somebody, I've got to hold on to. So, that's a plan that's in place.
So apparently that's another sign as well that you might be someone struggling with love and sex addiction. In some of the articles I read about it, if you're someone who goes through periods of going, I'm not dating, I have to go completely stone cold, not see anyone. That feels like the only way you can take control because you know you can't half do it.
I guess what I'm struggling with is that by using the word addiction, she's then sort of like implying that she needs a sort of recovery plan, and that's what she just has outlined to Holly here, or an addiction management plan. It makes me think of this essay that was in the New Yorker a couple of weeks ago by Gia Tolentino, which was to coincide with the book release. It was called Elizabeth Gilbert's Latest Epiphanies. And she makes the point that Elizabeth Gilbert has become really a self-help writer, as you kind of gestured to at the beginning, Holly. And what she's selling is not just beautiful writing, she's got a ton of that, and not just a sort of really compelling story, but also almost like tips for how to live a better life. And by using the word addiction, she's saying, I'm going to teach you how to not make these bad decisions anymore. But maybe it's just a matter of every decision you make, trying to make a better one rather than having an addiction management plan.
Yeah, and I wondered too, I mean, I know the book is very complex and goes in a lot of different directions, and Holly, so does your interview. But I actually found the other strand of this almost more interesting, and that was the theme of caregiver collapse, because she talks about, these feelings that she had towards Rhea, and she says, basically I wanted to end Rhea's life or potentially end my own. That I thought the vulnerability and the lack of shame to put that down on the page, which is going to outrage a lot of people already. There are reviews and people saying you've disrespected Rhea's memory by committing some of these things to paper. The reason I really respect that is that I think that will speak to a lot of people. Not that people do it, but the intensity of the caregiver relationship, whether or not you call yourself an addict, the way in which your boundaries disappear, the burnout, like I cannot imagine what it would be to care for someone dying of cancer.
I agree, obviously, 100%. And that part of the book is so powerful and so interesting. But it's also very specific. Like that particular example is very specific to what they were going through.
Yeah.
But what I really like about, because I take all the criticism about Liz Gilbert being a guru and all those things, but the honesty in all of this, I just think is breathtaking. Because admitting that when you fall in love with someone, you try and control them, again, is something that I know a lot of people will relate to, having had that done to them, and sometimes that looks like generosity, and sometimes that looks like caregiving, and sometimes it looks like whisking them away on holiday or whatever it is, or texting you every minute, or all of those things. I just think it's really, really bold. I think it's really bold to be able to say, I recognize that I am part of this. This is what I try and do to people in the name of love. I just think it's really, I just really admire it, because I think that we all, when you listen to those list of things that she says she can't do, some of it obviously is very unrelatable, like lavishing money on people and all that kind of stuff is not stuff that we're doing.
Buying a Range Rover.
Yeah, exactly. She bought, in Rhea's last days, she bought her a Rolex and a Range Rover in the apartment and da-da-da-da-da. But also, I think that what's more relatable though for many people is like, texting all the time, allowing yourself to be swept up in this idea that this is it, this is real, and this time it's going to be different, and this time it's going to be different. I just think a lot of us live our lives like that.
If this segment brought up any issues for you, then there are some resources in our show notes.
And if you want to listen to the interview, it's on No Filter, a special episode of No Filter that dropped yesterday.
We decided to do something a bit different today, and by we I mean me. I forced us all to sit down with a tarot card reader. A little while ago, this tarot card reader came in. Her name is Evelyn. She came into the office and she did readings. And everyone who saw her just went, that blew my mind. That was incredible. They had these stories that just went around the office. So next time she came in, I booked in. And I sat with her and she told me things like she drew a card. I'd never seen a tarot card reader before. She drew a card and she said, your mum's having issues with sleep. I didn't know she was having issues with sleep. I asked her. She said, oh, yeah, I am.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, something about my brothers and conversations they were having about something they were going to do together. Something about a holiday I was going on and where I was going to go and my plans for the next 12 months. Really spot on. And I ran out. And I went, Maya, I saw this tarot card reader. And she is nothing if not common. And so when she realised I loved it, she said she pushed the next person out of the way, went in, also mind blown. So I decided that we should get Evelyn in.
Yes, she did.
At first.
How did you feel about that, Amelia?
I felt fine about it, but then my feelings changed. But
yes.
Set it up.
Okay, so I was like, why don't we get Evelyn in? Tell us what's going to happen in the future. You know what, guys? We should just do personal readings and broadcast them to the world.
Great idea.
And I just
What
saw
could go wrong?
the expressions on people's faces and I was like, guys, I think this will be great content. And so what we did is last week we invited her into our studio. We asked a lot of questions. We asked some silly questions. We asked about the future of the show. We asked about Mia, and then we did have personal readings. Amelia, tell me why your feelings changed. Had you ever seen a tarot card reader before, Evelyn?
No, I hadn't. I've always been interested in it. It's obviously been around for centuries. I mean, this must be something to it. I felt fine about it, but then what really surprised me is the day rolled around and Evelyn came in, and all of a sudden I started to feel incredibly anxious, like in a way that I could not have predicted. My face changed. People could tell in the room. The producers afterwards like, are you okay? Like I really clenched up. I felt really tense.
Do you know why?
I think it's because whether or not you believe in it, there's a possibility that this person is going to tell you something about the future that you don't want to hear. And that lack of control was really scary to me. I just didn't know. You don't normally have a conversation with someone where they could say anything about your life and you just have to sort of nod and take it because this is what's happening. This is predestined. So I think it really brought up issues for me in terms of my kind of control freak personality and being told things that I maybe didn't want to hear. So I actually said to her, can you not tell me anything bad about the future? And she's like, oh yeah, that's a very common request and I can absolutely fulfill that.
How about you, Holly? Because you're kind of, I feel like I tried to get you on board a little bit.
I was definitely game. I'm not necessarily a believer, and I'm also not necessarily a skeptic. I've spoken on the show before about how my late mother-in-law was a psychic, so that opened my mind a lot to various possibilities of, that I guess I'm a grey area person on this, right? So I was open to Evelyn, but I was trying to take it with a grain of salt.
Did you get nervous too?
You know what? She was so lovely, which I think must be one of the skills of people who do this kind of work. She was very good at putting us at ease, or at least because I went in very boundaried in my head, but within 5 minutes I was just asking her everything. Yeah, right. So if anyone listens to my private reading, I apologise in advance for that, because she was very good at making me relax. But I came out of there going, oh, great, great, great. But since then I've kind of chilled out about it and gone, some of that yes, some of that no.
Okay. All right. It is time to hear how our little session with Evelyn went. Today we have psychic and tarot reader Evelyn Santoro with us. Evelyn, welcome.
Thank you. It's so exciting to be here today.
Oh, we are so excited to have you. I wanted to ask to begin with, how did you get into tarot? Where did the interest come from?
So growing up, it was very, very young, and growing up I used to love reading, and my family were avid readers. My mum was very much into science and my dad was into politics and history, and so we spent a lot of time in old bookstores. And I was just gravitating, in between Judy Blume and the Babysitter's Club, I'd gravitate towards what is now known as the self-help section or the spirituality section, and back then was known as the mystical or the occult. And I just was drawn to these tarot cards, and I'd pick them up and look at them and then read. And then after many, many months, my mum came home with them and said, this is something that you might want to know more about or discover more about. And then we just had someone in our neighbourhood. I was growing up in Argentina, so I grew up in South America. And the woman took me under her wing, and so she helped guide me along for about 4 or 5 years, and then she passed. And then I continued the journey on my own. So that's how I started.
And do you think that it's learned, or is there something innate? Like, do you feel as though even that instinct you had to gravitate towards it, is it something you feel like you've always had?
Perhaps, but I think everyone has something. I think we all have some sort of intuition, and for me the tarot is just a tool that taps into something that then unlocks some answers for others. I know people who might be able to read your coffee cup, for example, or they might do palmistry, or they pick up a bit of jewelry and give you information based on that. But for me, it was the tarot. But I really believe everyone has something that's in them already. It's whether you pay attention to it or not.
How does tarot work? Like, basically, if somebody comes for a reading and we're about to do that, how does it work?
So when you come for a reading, what usually would happen is the way I do the reading is I ask you your date of birth and then pick up the energy around your date of birth, which will give me what's going on for you at the moment. So the tarot is a bit of a storytelling tool. Where have you come from? Where are you at the moment? And where are you headed? And what will bubble up first, so we do a general reading until you pick 10 cards. And in your general reading, it's as if the universe gives you what you want to know and a little extra of what you may be ignoring. So it's like, well, I'm here to know about love. Well, but there might be something more about what direction you're going in your career, for example, or you're taking a trip, or there's a baby coming, or something like that. So, and then you can ask any questions.
What happens if you pull bad cards? That's what's always sort of scared me, is the prospect of, what if I hear something I don't want to hear? How do you manage that?
Oh, I've had experiences with people who would come in and are very fearful. And so usually you can ask that. You can say, is there something that you're scared about hearing today? And usually it's about people departing, close ones, or if there's an illness or something like that. But usually people come in and say, I just want to know. I want to know. People are curious, and that's why they seek a reader.
Do you ever see, I know a lot of people, or there's ethics around if you pull a card and it's like, especially death. I mean, that's the biggest question that people often have. Do you have boundaries around whether you will communicate that to people or not?
Yes,
Right.
definitely. Yeah.
And so do you feel like people have the right to know that, or you kind of hold it back?
It depends on the client. So there'll be times where someone will come in and I'll say something like, there might be some sad news coming on this side of the family or a friend, and probe a little on whether they're open to hearing. And if they're not, then I just sit back. It all depends on how well you know the person. So I have clients that I've known for many, many years, and others that are brand new. So it's tough. It's a tough territory.
Does everybody kind of want to know the same things? Like, what are the most common questions you get asked? And then what are some of the more unusual questions you've been asked?
Look, I've been doing professional readings for a long time, since I was 22. The main ones are the usual, the love, will I meet my other half? Will it go well? Health, career. But then things have changed, I think. So as in the last 10 to 15 years, there's been more of a financial push on things. Trips are always a popular one. Where am I going this year? Am I able to get away? Will I have a holiday? But I guess the most unusual things, I've lost something. Can you see where it is? I had someone come into the Mind, Body, Spirit Festival a few years ago and said, I just want to know where I've left the remote control. I've teared the whole house apart. I can't find it. Where is it? Is it in the kitchen? Is it here? Is it there? And I don't know if she ever found it.
So you didn't know where it was.
So I told her where I thought it was. So we looked at the cards, but she said, okay, I'll go back and have a look. But she didn't come back to let me know, so no idea.
What are your 3 favourite cards? What cards do you really like to draw for people?
So there are 3 fantastic cards out of the 78 to either start with or end with, and that's the World, which is a fabulous card. It means completion, or it means that your goals have been realised. The other is the Magician. So if you have a challenge coming up, the Magician finds many different ways for you to get out of that problem and to solve that problem, and it can manifest people coming into your life to help you with that issue. And the other card is the Sun. The Sun is absolute positivity. It's a lovely card. It means a period of happiness, usually after a very long period of sadness or feeling of loss, of not really knowing, of not having the right information or the tools to move ahead with whatever it is you need. So those cards are fantastic. They're resolution cards.
How does what you do extend into your everyday life? Your ability to tap into your intuition in this way when you're not pulling cards for people, how does it affect how you live your life?
So it's really interesting. So I've been in the corporate world for a very, very, very long time. Tarot was always something I did on the side as a weekend thing just to keep grounded. But it often seeped into my everyday life in intuition with the people that I work with. It ruined a relationship I had with a lovely psychologist.
How?
I was seeing a psychologist during a really hard breakup. So it was a divorce. It was an awful divorce. And so she was helping with communication after separation. And so one day she was talking and I started to go off into a bit of a trance and saw an image of her hugging a male and crying. And then I stopped and I remembered she had said to me the year before, I saw her for 3 years, that she had lost her mother-in-law. And so I thought, this must be me tapping into their grief. It must be her husband. And so I said, how's your husband doing after the loss of his mum? And then she just blurted out that the husband had left her, that he finally could live his life freely. And after 33 years, they'd been living a lie. So it all just came out. And so suddenly the relationship of counsellor or psychologist-patient, it crossed that boundary. So we could no longer continue that relationship. And I had to see another psychologist.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, we have some questions about our office ghost, don't we?
Yes, we do.
Okay.
So you have come in and before you came in, there were women at the people in the office who were here when we were doing the office move and they went, there's some weird stuff happening. And then you came in and we had a few questions. What did you sense when you came into the office?
So a heavy feeling in 3 different spots of the office. So the office is quite a lovely, cheery place, especially we're in the back area. There's a lot of creativity.
That's where we are, ladies.
That's where we are. Yeah.
Somewhere near that place called the Lemonade Room.
Yep, that's us.
Yeah, we're near there.
Yeah, it's a fabulous spot. But then there are other spots where I'd walk around and then I'd feel different things. And it wasn't just because of the building. There were different things going on for different people and I could separate out what was there because of the person. But this was a different sense. It was the sense of something that shouldn't be here, needed to transcend and move on, but is still stuck. And that's in the kitchen. It's in that little office space. And
Mia's office. Mia's office.
Poor Mia. And in your other studio.
And so what do people are now kind of looking out for things and experiencing certain things, but what should people do? Like, are we meant to encourage this, like, ghost to move on? Do we say hi to her when we walk in the morning? Like, what would you recommend?
So I guess you invite it to move on to where it needs to be. So if it's a she, you could say, and if you've named her.
Yes, we've called her Sally.
We've personified her because this is a mostly female workplace.
Yeah.
But you're right. Like, we don't know that.
We don't know that.
Yeah, so you could definitely ask her to go where she needs to be gently in a nice way. And sometimes people, they're just stuck, that not knowing how to move on, why to move on, or feeling like they haven't resolved something here. So there's that. But they will only go if they want to. It's not like we have any power to really do anything.
On that, I had an additional question about tarot in that, so it's about the present and it's about the future. Can you connect with a lot of people, I imagine, go at times of grief if they've lost someone? Does tarot also allow you to connect with people who have passed?
I think that happens not through tarot but through the person.
Okay.
So if the person has mediumship, I've connected with people that have passed very rarely. So but that's because I'm not a person that goes after that contact. I know that there are people who love to go to mediums and they will say, okay, I'm here, let's see who comes through. But I'm not one for that. I think that if the person comes through, it's for a specific reason. There's an unresolved issue. There's a message of comfort because you're going through something huge on this side, and maybe that message is for you to continue to resolve whatever it is you need to and move on. But it isn't something that I would seek or would want from my clients.
Can I ask you, we're about to do some questions for the Outlouders for each of us, but there will be some Outlouders listening to this, Evelyn, who are like, what a load of nonsense.
Yes.
What a load of tosh.
Yes.
And you must get that quite a bit, right? Like, what do you say to the skeptics? Like, is this a sort of, if you believe, then you believe, and if you don't, then why are you worried about it? Like, how do you handle that?
No, I think it's good to be a skeptic. I think that's great because we should be this way with everything in life. When you meet someone and you fall in love, you need to have that caution, don't you? I mean, you don't just rush into everything. It's the same sort of thing with this. I mean, when you're going to see a psychic or whoever, you need to go with caution and take things with a grain of salt. It's the same when you go and ask for financial information. Show me the evidence, I guess, right?
Yeah.
So someone will say to you, I'm great, I'm going to make you $1 million, follow my financial advice. Well, show me your portfolio. What have you done for other clients? I mean, this is the same thing. In terms of being skeptic because of the subject matter, is there something out there? I don't believe that. I guess that's up to each person. I've seen a lot of things that I can't explain. And so I can't say that I'm not a believer, but I can't say that I'm 100% believer and I'm going to go out and evangelize and convince others either. Everyone has their own journey.
Thank you so much. So, are we going to pull some cards just for for questions from the Outlouders?
We've got
for each of us?
a few sort of silly light questions that we're going to start with that are kind of that are specific to us and the Outlouders. Why don't, Holly, do you want to go first?
Yes. These are some questions that I know the Outlouders want to know.
Okay.
Yeah.
What should I do?
So you need to shuffle the cards. Think of the Outlouders. Their fate is in your hands.
I'm very grateful to the Outlouders, so treat them with care. I'm not a very good shuffler, as you can see.
No, that's good.
What's your question, Holly?
Okay, so one of the first very important questions. I'm famous in the Out Loud world for being a bit obsessed with the royals.
Oh.
Am I ever going to get a jar of Meghan Markle's jam?
Ah. So I need you to spread those out.
All of them?
Yes. And let's pick 3. I need you to think of the jam.
Okay, I'm visualising the jam. I actually tried to order some last night. The raspberry was all gone. There was only marmalade. And then they wouldn't ship it here anyway.
Now does she pick?
Pick 3.
Pick 3.
Which ones are calling to you? Okay, let's see which ones have popped
So do I turn them over or do you turn them over?
Hand them over. Let's have a
Oh,
look.
you're handing them over to you.
Let's see. So we've got the Fool.
No, that's not a surprise.
The Fool is first, the Queen of Wands and the Moon. Okay. You are going to get a jar of jam, but the Moon shows me that it isn't the one you want.
Oh.
So you're going to be a little confused with the choice you're going to be given. It could even be one that is new. It could be a type of
Could be strawberry instead
No,
of
you're totally going to get apricot.
yeah. It
get
could
the
be
marmalade.
One. It could be the one that hasn't. Has she releasing new
She's
flavors?
expanding the range.
Okay, so it could be one of the ones that you haven't heard of yet because there's more information coming.
Ooh.
But Queen of Wands, you will get it. It just won't be the one you're expecting.
And where does the Fool fit in?
The
Is
Fool,
that just a picture of Holly?
That's just me.
the Fall is the start of a new journey. So this could even begin. So this is the very first card of the 78. And the reason why the Fool is jumping off a cliff like that, he's taking a leap of faith. So
Maybe I need to write
you're
to
going
Meghan.
to make a connection with her, and grab that jam.
Maybe you'll get an Out Louder
Holly
in the
has
UK.
tears in her eyes right now.
Evelyn, I feel so happy.
I'm going to ask a bit of a juicy Out Loud question.
Great.
We have, myself, Mia and Holly have been hosting Out Loud for a lot of years. We've been working together for 10 years. And we've got Amelia and Em, who are also our hosts. And I have just a broad question about the dynamics and the relationship and what you see in our future as a show.
Okay.
All right. So I pick 3 cards. Okay. Oopsie.
So really think about that.
Jessie's as bad at shuffling as I am. She's spreading them out. She's gone in for the pull. Here we go.
The world.
Oh, that's the good card. As you said, that was a good card, right?
It's a great card.
Oh,
That's a great card. Okay. So the Queen of Swords. You do have a great dynamic between you, but there is someone here with a feeling, it's like you need to lift their confidence, or there's a feeling, there's imposter syndrome going on with one of your people. However, once that's resolved, you've got the world. It'll go very, very well between you. So the world is that, what I was saying before, that excellent realization. And the Knight of Wands is expansion to other places, other lands, other things.
Out Loud's going global.
Yeah.
Oh, I love this.
Yeah, it's very good. It's fantastic. But there's something here that needs to just be resolved. So maybe just take on that power and,
An issue with confidence maybe.
Yes.
Yeah, right. I'm happy with that, Az. Thank you so much. That definitely rings true.
Amelia.
All right. I was just going to say the reason I'm nervous is because I love denial and the idea of like knowing the future. I kind of don't want to know it. So I'm coming to this with some resistance, to be honest.
Okay. So we'll do it gently.
And you know how you said that some people don't want to hear bad things?
Let's not do
I'm
bad
one of
things.
those
Okay,
people.
we won't do the bad things. We won't do
Just good things.
Good vibes only. I'm sure that Amelia's got a T-shirt somewhere that says good vibes only. That sounds really Amelia.
It's very, very Amelia.
Okay, my first question is about Out Loud. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, I'm filling in for Mia, and I've discovered recently there's a WhatsApp group that the main hosts are on, and I'm not in it. And my first question is, will I ever be added to it? Okay. And I kind of think I know the answer, but I kind of want to have them hear it and sit with their discomfort.
Oh, dear.
Really thinking about this WhatsApp group and all the links I'm missing. Yeah, I can see it in my mind's eye.
Let's see. The card of mystery, the Queen of Cups, information being withheld. Ace of Wands. Okay, so Ace of Wands is you'll definitely be added to the group. So this is you realizing your goal. See, you've got the world in your hand.
Yeah.
I finally have what I wanted. The Nine of Wands is you've made a mountain out of a molehill. It wasn't that great
I
to
said
begin
no
with.
uncomfortable truths. And where's Queen of Cups in this?
So Queen of Cups, she's the holder of secrets. So usually when the Queen of Cups appears, it's because something is you're yet to discover something. So there's information being withheld, and you're about to discover information, and that's you there. Ace of Wands,
Okay.
the goal coming through.
Great.
So
WhatsApp.
That's
the
good.
mystery is all the nonsense that's going on in the WhatsApp group.
It's how quickly Amelia exits once she's joined. It is not an interesting chat. It's just Mia sending links that Holly and I like.
Which
"Oh,
I
can't be
probably
bothered."
sent her.
To be honest.
I have one last question, which is, before we do our readings, which is I would love you to pull 3 cards for the Outlouders.
Okay.
For the people who are listening.
Is it possible to do that?
We can
Should
try.
we pick one each maybe? Because
That
we
would be
sort
good.
of represent them.
I think
Oh,
so.
yeah,
I think that
okay.
would be best, yes.
Why don't we do
Okay.
that? Do you want to grab the cards, Jessie or Amelia?
I'm happy
Oh,
to.
yeah, you better do the,
Yeah, I'll do my
as a permanent host.
special shuffle. Because I wonder that sometimes. Sometimes I'm on TikTok and I see someone doing a tarot reading and I'm like, oh, is that how it works? Like, do you have to be in a room with someone? Like, how do you find...
Can you do it on Zoom?
Yes.
So it's not
interesting.
necessarily about the energy.
No.
That's interesting. And I have one more question too. Are these cards very particular and important to you, this particular set of cards? Yeah. So a tarot reader, you'll have your cards.
Your cards.
Yeah.
Let's go like this and we'll all pick one.
This is for you lot Outlouders, not for us. And we'll just find out what your vibe is.
All right, I'm going to pick this one.
I'm going to pick this one.
Oh, wow. So you've picked very good cards. 7 of Cups. So this is all about their life and the life path. And the King of Cups is all about sentimental things. So the Outlouders now are going through a time of great sentimentality, sensitivity, anything to do with whatever they're listening to will really affect them. So that's the King of Cups. Yeah, there's lots of energy around water signs in particular. So if you're an outlouder that's a Scorpio, a Pisces or a Cancerian, this would probably really affect you because that's the card that represents them. The other thing too is Amelia's picked a great card for the Outlouders.
Oh, good.
So there's great news coming for these guys in the next 2 weeks. So, I don't know, you might have a great update for them on the show or something like that.
Oh,
Well, you're going to be on, so there's that.
Well, that's
exactly. That's the excitement. All right, 2 weeks.
That's
We're going to be
amazing.
looking out for it. Oh, I love that
Thank
so
you
much.
so much.
Thank
Evelyn,
you.
really appreciate you.
Outlouders, we can't wait to see if those predictions resonated with you. And look, I think, quite a logical science research person, but there is something, I don't know what it is about this year, where I quite like leaning into the unexplainable. Like I wouldn't change decisions I make or put all my stock into it, but it weirdly makes me feel I kind of like the idea that the future is set and I don't have to worry too much. We could have spoken to Evelyn for hours, and in fact, we maybe did. We had one-on-one tarot readings with her, and predictably things got quite personal. In fact, what we did is that we all left the room for each other so that it could just be us and one producer and Evelyn.
And the Outlouders.
And all the Outlouders, of course. And interestingly, the first card she picked for each of us was really revealing. Yeah. Like it said something about our current frame of mind. What we're going to do is share those readings as subscriber episodes next week. And if you want to get in touch with Evelyn, she's in high demand because the Mamamia office has her on retainer now. She just comes in every day. She is on Instagram, and we will pop a link in the show notes.
It's Friday, so we want to help set up your weekend with some of our best recommendations. Jessie, what have you got?
Okay, I'm going to go first. I cannot believe we have not talked about this documentary yet. It is all over Netflix. Unknown Number, the high school catfish.
Oh, I've seen that. Okay, explain what it is.
Yeah, all right. So it is very Netflix in the way it's made. People will understand that. But the story is wild. And the setup is that there's a teenage girl named Lauren, and Lauren is in a relationship with Owen. They're like 14, right? And as soon as they start dating, she gets these weird messages from an unknown number. And they start to get pretty threatening, as though the person sort of wants to be with Owen, and they get more and more persistent. And they end up spanning more than a year. And the weird thing about the messages is that they contain details that only someone very close to her would know. So it's often like something that happens in class or what she's wearing or really deep insecurities. And so all the parents take it to the school, and the school goes, is it this classmate or this classmate? At one point they wonder if it's Lauren herself. And it gets so bad and like so sexual and almost violent, some of these threats, that the FBI gets involved and tries, and it's quite tech savvy what this person is doing. It's not just an unknown number, but it's like they're putting it through a computer that generates a different number. So you block that number and there's a new one, right? And even Owen and Lauren break up, and the next person Owen sees starts getting these messages. And the twist of this documentary, what everyone's talking about, is who is behind it.
But do we actually find out? Because I'm annoyed by Netflix documentaries that leave me hanging.
Yes, I hate that when it's basically like a whole lot of people with theories. Yeah. And I'm like, no theories. Oh, we find out. And it gets deep. And once you watch...
Are all these people like cooperating?
Yes, all of them. All of them are being
including
Lauren. Like everyone. And so... once you watch that documentary, which you will just have a lot of feelings about, there is then an article in The Cut, which is a long-form feature about this that was actually written before the documentary, that gives you even more details about very small town, the suspicions.
Oh, this sounds so
who
good.
they thought it was.
No wonder it's number one on Netflix, right? No wonder.
It's so good.
Oh,
so
sounds
you have
so
to
good.
go and read that too. And
if I watch it too, can we talk about it next week?
I think we have to, because can't stop thinking about it.
I've got actually another kind of true crimey thing. This is on Disney, and it's a show called The Twisted Tale of Amanda Knox.
I saw that and I wondered if I'd reach peak Amanda Knox.
Yeah, I was like, don't I know all that story?
So I actually have
offense.
a really bad memory. And the best part about that is that true crime documentaries are always super surprising to me. So remember American Crime Story, O.J. Simpson?
Yeah.
Literally had no idea if he would even be found guilty or not.
How does this
Gasping
end?
at the television as the plot twists unveiled. So maybe you need to take this recommendation with a grain of salt, but this is an extraordinary case. Let me explain to the one person who doesn't know like I don't. It happened in 2007. Amanda Knox was an American student studying abroad in Italy, in Puglia. And
Puglia. Duolingo.
I just got
Italian.
schooled.
Puglia.
And she spent years in prison after she was wrongfully convicted of the murder of her British roommate. And this is based on her memoir. So it's very much from her perspective, but it's sort of in that genre of like when you get caught up with law enforcement in a foreign country and how scary that is when you don't even understand what the police are saying to you. I put Bridget Jones 2 in that same category. And it's just really terrifying. And it's not perfect. In fact, it's got some really weird stylistic decisions. On the night the murder took place, Amanda was with her Italian boyfriend watching the movie Amélie. Was that pronounced
That
to
was
your
very
liking,
good.
Holly?
Well done.
Good, I'm glad. And the whole show is weirdly and whimsically done in the style of the movie Amélie.
What?
Which I know is super weird, but I do like Amélie, so I guess that's fine.
Sometimes you've got to kind of mix up your true crime story.
I think it's because a lot of people probably do feel like they know the story very well, and it is a very stylistic retelling, I would say. So I have been really engrossed in it.
It's a series, not a one-off.
It's a series, and it's one of those ones where they're dropping week by week, so it's sort of old school. So it hasn't actually even finished yet, but lots of twists and turns, very tense.
All right, maybe I will give that a go, actually. I'm looking for something.
If you're looking for true crime with a twist of Amélie. Holly, what have you got?
No true crime from me, you'll be surprised to hear. So I know that no one is watching my friend Meghan's season 2 of...
It's not even on my Netflix. Like when I turn on Netflix, it doesn't even acknowledge it.
It knows you too well.
Yeah.
It still really upsets me that this show is not called As Ever Meghan. It's like, or even This Is Meghan Now, as we've discussed
it's a
before.
branding disaster.
Because it's called With Love Meghan, right? Which, come on, just get your ducks in
It's
a row.
actually 2 sign-offs, With Love Meghan and As Ever Meghan, are 2 ways of ending an email.
Confusing.
Yeah.
Anyway, she made, as we've discussed on the show before, she made the second season when she made the first season of the show. It's the lifestyle cooking show. I'm not recommending the whole thing, but I am recommending if you've had a hard week, if life's just been a little bit shit this week, watch the last episode 8 with, now I'm going to get schooled on my pronunciation because Spanish isn't my strength. I'm not doing that in Duolingo. Jose Andres.
That seemed really
Sounds
good.
right. Yeah.
So he's a really big deal Spanish chef, and he's also the guy who started World Central Kitchen, which is an amazing organization that goes into disaster areas and war zones. And he started this organization that basically sends chefs in and they set up kitchens and they cook meals for people and they employ local chefs to do it. And it's a really, really great cause. They're in Gaza at the moment. They've got an aim to serve 1 million meals a day. Anyway, that's not what it's about. What it's about is that Jose comes to Meghan's fancy house that isn't really a house. And his vibe is so amazingly strong. And
Does he make something yummy?
They make a Spanish feast for the crew because it's the last episode.
That's nice.
So for the whole 80 people crew of Meghan's show, none of whom are quite as glamorous as Meghan because they're not ordinary people, but they're allowed in this episode to eat oysters, to eat lobster, to drink cava, which is like Spanish Prosecco, out of a teapotty thing, to have a good time.
Wait,
because
out of
Jose's
a teapot?
there. Well, it's not a teapot, but apparently it's a traditional Spanish thing that looks like a teapot. And you tip it up like this and the bubbles go into your mouth.
Oh, that sounds delightful.
And he tries to get Meghan to do it, but she's not going to because on camera that might get a bit messy.
And also she's wearing white linen.
Exactly. He is such a vibe. He makes her like relax and she becomes quite cool. And I just love it.
So lovely.
It's such a good episode. So you don't want to watch the whole season, but if you've had a hard day, just go watch the walking vibe that is Jose Andres loosen Meghan up over some very good paella. That's all I'm saying.
Okay, love it.
But we were told there was going to be something sexy here. This doesn't sound that sexy.
We need to talk about the Wuthering Heights trailer.
Oh, yes.
So just for everybody to know this, this is a week of retractions from me. Remember how I said Kate wouldn't go blonde and then she went blonde?
Yeah.
And then I said I'm not on board with this adaptation of one of my favourite books because Margot Robbie's wrong, Jacob Elordi's wrong, the director Emerald Fennell was getting a bit too saucy. I watched the trailer, full retraction.
I have felt nothing about this until this moment when that is my Valentine's Day.
Yes.
Me, on my own, I might buy myself a ticket to Gold Class, get myself my frozen Coke and watch Wuthering Heights. That looks so good.
Emerald Fennell, we should just trust because, look, it's not going to please the classics. Like it's, it clearly is a very generous interpretation and just a warning. Like there ain't no happy ending in that situation.
That's fine.
But that looks hot. Heaving bosom, like literally the eggs, the kneading.
A lot of kneading.
Were you with me?
No, look, I mean, Jacob Elordi and Margot Robbie are the two best looking people in the world.
Yeah.
I could stare at their faces, their Aussie faces forever. I'm into it now, Holly. You convinced me. Let's all go with our frozen Cokes on Valentine's Day.
Loved it. Love. Outlouders, thank you so much
for listening to today's show and our fabulous team for putting this show together. A big thank you to our team, Group Executive Producer Ruth Devine, Executive Producers Emmeline Gazilis and Sasha Tannick.
Our Senior Audio Producer is Leah Porges, Video Producer Josh Green, and our Junior Content Producers are Coco and Tessa. Bye.
Bye.